Welcome back, everybody, to Real Time for the Real Everyday Movie Fan. I am, of course, Josh Williams.
I'm Ryan Murphy.
I'm James Sheridan.
Thank you guys so much for joining us here today because we're here to give you our real time review of Daredevil season or episodes 5 and 6. Now, guys, we should be warned this is a spoiler warning here. This is a spoiler alert. We are going to be talking spoilers. So if you haven't seen them, go back and watch them and come back and join in our conversation. Also, guys, if you like what you watch and you like what we provide here, please be sure to subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell so you receive all of our great content we have for you here on Real Time. All right, we got that out of the way, guys. Let's just dive right into it. So I've heard a lot of people, there's a lot of chatter online. A lot of people liked these episodes because one was definitely like a bottled episode where it was just one setting, one area, kind of away from the entire storyline. Sort of. I mean, you got some of Kingpin stuff in there, but it definitely was standalone stuff, and then you cut right into episode 6. So I'm gonna start with you, James. What did you think of this episodes?
As much as we complain about the sort of slow pace of things so far, I actually really enjoyed episode 5, despite it being entirely filler. Like, there's very little plot in this episode, but despite my complaints so far, I actually really I thought it was entertaining, enjoyable, exciting. My larger sort of complaint still stands, where it's like, okay, now we're 2/3 through this season, and I still have no idea what the larger storyline for this season is besides Kingpin being mayor and going after vigilantes. And of course, episode 6 kind of ups that ante. And now we have sort of newer plot threads or continuing plot threads with White Tiger's niece, her getting into trouble, her reaching out to Matt Murdock, and then getting taken by Muse. Muse himself being sort of an ongoing thread that we're going to see. And this has been confirmed through multiple seasons now. He's not going to be contained to just this season, but I still, again, I don't have an idea of what's the story. Where is this going? And I've kind of come to the conclusion that there isn't a story for this season, the way we've been kind of trained to expect that with previous seasons of Daredevil and some of the other MCU related Marvel shows. This feels like it's intentionally being episodic, and there are through lines and smaller plot threads, but it doesn't feel like there's a single arc to this season, and that things are going to kind of continue on beyond that, which isn't necessarily bad. But like I said, after however many seasons of the Netflix shows, not just Daredevil, but other ones, and then the few other series we've gotten on Disney Plus, it feels like most of those have had sort of individual contained story arcs. Even shows that have had multiple seasons, like Loki, still felt like each season was its own sort of story, that there were things that would continue on, but there was still sort of an arc to things. And if there is something, I'm kind of disappointed that it's going to come in like the last 3 episodes, possibly, or even less than that. I don't know. But at this point, I'm fairly certain that it's just going to be an episodic season.
Yeah, and I kind of agree with that because coming into this show after like the first episodes, I kind of had this feeling that it wasn't, because like where do you go if Fisk is the mayor? Do you bring him down again? Like you can't really do that. And I see like Fisk's character being like in more than just Daredevil. You know what I'm saying? Like as the mayor of New York, I see him in kind of being that overarching villain for a long time, kind of like that thing that's always there and corrupting the system. So I kind of went into this one feeling like it was more like the phrase says, a born again show, where like you're reintroducing Daredevil and Fisk to the world, and it's a character study on them, or them becoming who they were meant to be. If that makes sense. Like that's how I viewed it. So like the only way I can see kind of a conclusion of these last seasons is like finishing up with what's going on with Muse, exploring that a little bit more, and then also the anti-vigilante task force. Kind of because because
Well, I think Muse is done. I think that's it for Muse for this season. I think he's going to come
I
back
don't
next
think
season.
so. Because he got away, so he's not
Yeah.
done. He's too
So
obsessed
he's
to
going to
stop.
come back next season. He's going to come back, like James said. He's been confirmed that he will be a villain for the next season and a multi-season arc for Kingpin and Daredevil, which means Kingpin's is definitely not going to be taken down. So just
Yeah.
So I kind of have my doubts that we'll see him again before the season finale.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's kind of how I viewed it. But Ryan, you saw the 2 episodes, and honestly, it was a surprise for me. I only thought we were getting 1, and I saw 2. I'm like, ooh,
yeah,
fun.
Yeah, I really thought when I got into the 5th episode, I was like, they definitely put the 6th episode in there because they knew we'd be pissed off that nothing was moving forward. It's complete filler. I mean, I sat there and paid attention the whole time. I was like, I don't think there's anything. There's anything in this episode that has any bearing on anything.
Besides the little bit of continuing the like mob sort of war that's going on behind
Yeah,
the
that's
scenes,
true, 'cause
it's
those
almost
Irishmen are from
entirely
them.
contained.
Yeah,
but that wasn't necessary. Like, you don't have to. I don't know.
No, if you cut this episode out entirely, you don't miss anything from that storyline.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's but it was I was saying to myself for the past 24 hours, like, it was a waste of time, but it was kind of an entertaining waste of time, but still just a waste of time. I mean, yeah, you can either be like a movie or you can be like a TV series where Batman, fights the villain of the week, and this is sort of meandering somewhere in the middle. And yeah, like James said, what's the story? Like, what's going on? Like, what, and I think all we're going to see in the final 3 episodes is, now he's back to being Daredevil. It's officially, he's back 2/3 of the way through. And he's going to fight some anti-vigilante task force, and I think it'll be a pretty anemic ending if I can predict anything.
And we kind of forget that in season 1 he didn't really put on the Daredevil suit until the end of season 1. And in season 2, yes, we got him the whole time as Daredevil, to be fair. But then season 3, he didn't wear the suit at all. He wore his old school suit. And so I gave that part a pass because I feel like that's like the route they were structurally going for to kind of tease us the way through. But I mean, I see what you're saying. I understand completely.
Some people think that Spider-Man 4 is going to be Kingpin's going to be the villain of Spider-Man 4, and it's going to be Daredevil teaming up with Spider-Man, which I've been waiting for. Like, when I was a kid, like back in like 2004, I not photoshopped because I didn't have photos. I was like a 12-year-old kid. I took Microsoft Paint and I put the image of Ben Affleck's Daredevil and Tobey's Spider-Man, which is all there was at the time, and like said coming 2006 or something like that, and like I made a fan-made poster, very crude, sort of fan-made poster, and that's what I've been wanting to see that for a long time, and maybe we'll get it. But no, it was an entertaining episode. I like Mr. Khan, Yusuf Khan.
I love that. Was a very interesting tease there.
Like,
it's
also like whenever they do that, it's like fun, but it's also ridiculous because it's a city of 8 million people. But these fucking people always seem to find each other and cross over and sleep together and have dinner with each other. And he's the opposing counsel for She-Hulk, and now he's
forget the dinner with She-Hulk. I really want to see the dinner between him and Kamala. That'd be very interesting.
So,
but it's a very
I want her to figure out that he's Daredevil.
All right. I did, but did you guys get the little callback there though? When he finally opens up the safe, and I forgot Kamala's father's name. I forgot his name already.
Yusuf.
Yeah, he says the Urdu word for Marvel.
But not just that, but he goes, "What kind of lawyer are you?" And he goes, and then Matt goes, "I'm a really good good one." It was a callback from Spider-Man where he's like, "I'm just a really good lawyer." Like,
yeah,
I
love
that
little callback. We known that was coming for a year.
Yeah, but I love the little callback. This episode 5, I liked it. It was an interesting bottleneck. Again, I think you guys could argue yes that without it, that doesn't really change the story. I just think it was a character study for him to progress that. He's just, I know you can only beat a dead horse for so long, but I think it's now that episode 6 came out, it's finally done. The horse is done being dead, but I think like that.
The horse is done.
Do you understand how horses work?
Yes, I do. Anyways, but no, what I'm saying is that I think when you add in what happened in episode 5 and what happens in episode 6, episode 6 just like it broke him to the point where he's like, all right, I'm done. I can't take this anymore. I'm sick of the system not working. I'm sick of episode 5 it kind of did that because if you think about it, the cops couldn't do anything for all those hostages. Like he was fed up the fact that nothing was happening. The system was not working like he'd hoped it was. And to me, that like when you combine those, it broke. Is the was it straw that broke camel's back, or what's that phrase?
See, but the episode before that ended on him training on the roof, and I feel like that was a much better segue into his character being ready to be Daredevil in this one, where this one is just like he's in a circumstance where he can't really say no because he just can't help himself. But I again, if you excise this, I don't feel like that arc for the character is lost. So I disagreed with Ryan about these episodes being filler. This one was filler.
Yeah,
this one you can remove entirely and nothing is lost, besides it being a good, entertaining episode. But in the larger story, nothing is lost.
Probably my favorite part is when he goes run after that guy who dressed up as a police officer and like broke his leg in that crunch. I
haven't cringed that hard since.
God,
I still think the guy falling on his own neck was worse, but
yeah, fair. But I was like, jeez, dude. All right, well, let's move on to episode 6, the one that really where Muse comes into the forefront more, and Kingpin, he gets the news that all these paintings from Muse is from blood, and it's like 60 victims. I liked this episode. I love and hate it. I didn't hate it. I love and was frustrated because I felt like this episode rushed what could have been 2 episodes. Because I felt like when everything happened up until he decided to put on the suit was great. The trouble a little bit I had, and I mean, if you guys want to argue the other side, if you guys do believe the other side, that's great. I'd like to hear the other side of this. I feel like from the time he put on the suit and he got the call that hey, she's missing, the one guy's niece, and he finds Muse's lair just like out of nowhere within seconds. Like, no,
I thought that was a little weird too.
Right? It was a little weird for me to like just kind of like.
And the cops can't do anything, right? They can.
So it's like I don't know. It was kind of like it felt too abrupt. Like it's like they were trying to shorten the episode. Like at least give me some time to like watch him hear for her heartbeat or something. You know what I mean? Because like maybe he memorized her heartbeat, her rhythm, or something. Give me something that helped him figure out where she was. He couldn't have just like known where he was. Now I gave it a pass with Frank because I feel like he was maybe keeping tabs on Frank and he just knew where his spot was. That I can get by, but not Muse's spot was supposed to be like a really deep secret. Now the fight was awesome. It was a great.
I'm curious. I mean, we don't know who Muse is right now, but it's like apparently Muse is a black belt too. Okay, so this.
Well, Muse is a character that doesn't have an identity. He's just Muse. Like I don't think in the comics he even has another name.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like supposed to be an enigma.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also amused that like when we were talking about him last week, I mentioned that in the like 10 minutes of research I did on him. So take this with a grain of salt. I'm not an expert, but it lists him as an inhuman and he's got like a whole range of powers.
Yeah, he originally is like in the comics. Yeah.
And there's a moment where he's bringing, what's her name? Angela into his den, and he like the way he's kind of handling her, it looks like he's handling a dummy, but like,
yeah.
So I kind of wondered if they were playing up his like super strength kind of thing, but then he gets his ass handed to him by Daredevil, and it's kind of like, where are any of your powers at this point? Like, maybe they're kind of holding off on displaying that till next season, but it's like that was not the introduction to the character I was kind of expecting. Not a criticism, not a bad episode, but it's like I was waiting for him to do something to kind of throw Matt off and to kind of up the danger at that point. But the danger at that point was just getting White Tiger's niece out of there.
Yep. And
I do have to apologize. I was mixing up his niece and his daughter last episode. His daughter's the one who is the character who was in Ultimate Spider-Man and came into the comics. His niece is the one that was created by Brian Michael Bendis. And it is the character here, but I feel like her name in the comics is Angela Del Toro, whereas the other one is Ava Ayala. Sorry, I have a hard time with certain names.
That's good.
Whereas this one they're calling Angela Ayala. So I have a feeling that they're kind of merging the two characters to a degree. because I think at this point, Ava is probably the more famous thanks to Ultimate Spider-Man. But maybe that's just me. I don't know.
Right.
But
What
I
did you
just
guys
wanted
think
to
about the
clear that
scenes
up.
with Fisk trying to like chummy up to the rich people? And we got a cameo from the swordsman.
Swordsman, yeah. So they're
So what do you guys think of that?
you talk about everyone who's being teased like as of today in the going into Doomsday, like who's all in the canon now. Like like Swordsman's in there. Like I wonder if he's going to be in Doomsday, like as a superhero. Because now they're building up. It's interesting how I think they've far more than doubled the amount of heroes since Endgame in the 6 years since Endgame. So yeah, the Swordsman cameo is kind of fun, but it's so far
And we
away.
also got to see him in action a little bit there too,
Yeah,
which is
but
Yeah, a
kind
it's
of
so
little
nice.
far away from the
small
character.
clip.
It's so far away from the comics character. It's just
Yeah.
not even funny. Like, why even bother if it's not even going to be anything? Because he's supposed to be a former villain who was a circus guy who mentored Hawkeye and has this really complicated relationship with Clint Barton because he kind of took him under his wing but made him do bad things, and then Hawkeye became a hero, and then later on Swordsman wants to be a hero, and Hawkeye's like, don't trust this guy, and then he ends up falling in love with Mantis, who herself is a very in
Which was
name
a
only
very interesting thing. Yeah.
is very 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 not the same character as in the movies. They share only a name,
Yeah.
and maybe a taste in the color green. That's it. But he falls in love with a
And a
character named
fantastic
Mantis,
mustache.
and then he dies, and it's like so it's like got nothing to do with this guy who's just a rich prick who likes
Yeah.
to go out and sword fight. It's like so I don't know. Anyway, that's a tangent.
But the
So
whole scene itself though, I thought it was a great acting performance by Vincent D'Onofrio. That you could see that conflicted of him, like the acting he portrays of trying to be nice, but you can see he's just getting more and more pissed off that these people are trying to put under like they're trying to make him go under their thumb, and he's this powerful guy who doesn't take that very well. And I just feel like it's gonna come to a head where he's basically just gonna like somehow take their money. I don't know, something where basically they're under his thumb, like dirt. I don't know what, but like that
I think
one
you're reading
lady.
too much into it. I think it's just a little scene. There's a lot of filler in this fucking season.
I think it. No, I think it's gonna be a plant. I think it's a plant payoff as far as like how the rich people view themselves and how he's, because they think they're the ones that actually run the city, and he doesn't like that idea. You could see it in the acting that, and even though the character, also the character itself, does not like that idea that they think that they have power over him. That's not going to sit well with him. I have a feeling that's going to come back and bite them in the ass. And I feel like it's going to be part of his story of becoming the more all powerful mayor of New York City that he's wanting to be, kind of cutting through all that quote unquote red tape, if you want to call it, and all the people who are trying to control him, and so he can just be who he wants. At least that's how I view it. But James, any more thoughts on episode 6? Like, did you like the idea, like when how they were editing the clip where he was trying to revive, and her name's Angela, but it cuts back to Foggy because this is the first time he's wearing the suit since Foggy's death. So I don't know what.
Yeah, the mirroring of Foggy at the beginning and end of the episode was great because I think that's an important sort of framing device for Matt's struggle, and it's of course the reason why he wanted to rely on the system and not, fall into Daredevil. But now he's, having to face the parallels of, losing loved ones, and we've already lost White Tiger, and now his niece is in trouble, and we have this just awful, awful, monstrous character who's just doing terrible things and literally painting the city red.
Mm-hmm.
Which again, great, exciting stuff. Honestly, I thought the Fisk stuff was so fucking boring. I checked out halfway through that scene with them.
Really?
Yeah, I was gone. I just could not pay attention.
Huh?
Um,
I like
Most of the
watching
rest of the episode was great. I love that they kind of revealed that his body count was
60.
that high, 60,
Yeah.
which I looked it up because it's me and I'm curious about this shit. But this wouldn't even put him in the top 10.
It's very
no,
high.
I mean, are you going with just U.S. or worldwide?
No,
Not
no,
even
he
U.S.
he would be tied for top U.S.
Yeah,
The highest confirmed count
is the
for the
Brazilian
United
guy, right?
States is Samuel Little.
Huh?
Right, but there's that Brazilian guy had like 200, didn't he? Like, isn't that the all-time record holder? The goat.
Well, there's a guy from Colombia and Venezuela,
Okay, yeah.
who has 193, but the problem with these is there's the sort of confirmed account, and then there's the ones who, there's estimates of it, and then there's guys, who like spent their entire time in prison just kind of bragging about their sort of body count. So,
but 60's high. 60's high.
60's high. 60's really high.
Yeah.
And even in the episode, they kind of said, like the cop said up to 60, but at the same time, it's like they're talking about 60 distinct DNA samples.
Yep.
And that's not from every single mural out there. They confirmed that there was probably murals that are sort of like his early work kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So it could be even higher, but it's like you're talking about like a mass killer on that kind of scale. That's nuts.
Yeah, and it's pretty clever how he used epoxy to cover his mural so it doesn't get washed down. That's it's crazy.
I don't want to give him credit for that, but watching this character is fascinating and horrifying at the same time.
Yep.
And then the fight between them, again, great. Normally I would love the juxtaposition between the fighting with them and the like the intercutting between that fight and the Kingpin and Vanessa's ex-lover fight thing, except that I don't give a shit about him. And it's like,
you don't give a shit about Fisk or about the guy Adam?
At that moment, I don't give a shit about Fisk either.
Fair
and
enough.
It's like
yeah, that's been
to me that was like his unleashing. Like again,
I get what they were doing.
That for 4 fucking years. I think he's unleashed enough. Right? We know he's a fucking terrible person.
Well, from this season, like he was trying to be that mayor, that nice guy.
I am really,
and I get that, and I'm with that to a degree, but it's like there's a much more interesting fight going on here. Stop intercutting with this other stuff. I understand why you do that as an editor, but it's like, boy, do I not want to be involved in that fight right now. Like, just show me the Muse stuff. Like, it's so much more interesting.
I completely hear. I love the part where this is me personally, I guess, because I loved both fight scenes. Not equally. I loved, of course, Daredevil's a little more, but it's just the idea that he shows up with an axe, and I thought he's like would have chopped this guy to pieces.
Where it's like,
and he's like just throws it at him. I'm like, and then just smacks him around the whole room, and just oh my god, just destroys him. That was crazy. It's cool to see.
I fully expected when he pulled up with the axe that he was just going to go shining on him.
That's what I thought too. And then he hands it to him. I'm like, okay, that's where we're going. Okay, cool. That's crazy. But man, overall, I mean, I'll give my overall thoughts, and we'll kind of wrap this up into a pretty bow here. I do understand like we're 3 episodes left, and you know, there's who knows where the story's going to go, because I know there's been scenes where we show where Frank's coming back and he's going to be all, you know, clean shaved, and they're probably going to fight the anti-vigilante task force in some way,
which is going to be fucking awesome.
That's going to be crazy.
Water.
Yeah, so we'll see how that goes, but I get where your guys' complaints are. I do understand. I never went into it expecting it to be like one structural like beginning of a villain and an end, because I had a feeling that there's no way that Fisk was just going to be the mayor for one season. Like I know he's the overarching one, so I did expect him to kind of tease Muse and build him up a little bit more than what they did, because they had his murals everywhere, and he still popped up every now and again. But I figured they would have done what they did in episode 6, like episode 4. You know what I mean? And kind of keep building that part up. But you know, they did a lot of reshoots with this one. Overall, I enjoyed 5 and 6. I was pleasantly surprised that there was 2 episodes. And who knows? Maybe at the end of season 1, we'll have Matt having dinner with Kamala's family, and Kamala will show up. So Ryan, overall thoughts?
He'll show up.
Yeah.
No, I mean it's what it is at this point. It's not. I mean, you hear some of these reviews and they're like, "This is the best thing ever," and they're always saying that, unless it's Snow White, but like most things you just always hear like, "Oh, it's so fucking good," and then it's like it's what it is. It's not. We're past the point where I can hope for it to be mind-blowingly good, unless these 3. I don't know. Maybe these last 3 episodes are just going to be insane, but yeah, no,
cool.
I think we'll see.
Awesome, James.
I'm going to stick to my point that I'm disappointed there isn't a larger storyline. That's not to say I haven't enjoyed the entire season. 3 and 4 did feel slower because there wasn't much story advancement, and then 5, there was no story advancement, but it was so fun and exciting and self-contained. I don't care. This one, there was a little more story. Again, very well sort of executed in what it did well, and the other stuff I'm gonna chalk up to just me being bored and not like poor writing or anything. Not a criticism of the show. To your point about, and I'm not trying to debate you or anything, but about things like, an overarching story arc, meaning that like Kingpin would have to be taken down this season. I don't necessarily agree that's where the story had to take this place. Like I do think that you can have those stories continue beyond that. Obviously, Muse would be a good example of stuff that they establish and then can move beyond that. We still haven't dealt with Bullseye that can, move beyond that. Still haven't dealt with Foggy and Karen, which can move beyond that. But it's like, again, I go back to the fact that prior to this, every series we've had, both MCU and Netflix, has established a sort of arc for a season or sort of a journey for a season. And then it's sort of self-contained with threads moving on to something else or setting up something else. I'm fine with that. That's what I was expecting going into this. I'm accepting now that that's not what this is. And that's fine. This is not a criticism of it not being that. It's just, I did feel like because we were trained to kind of expect that kind of thing, it did hurt the middle of the season that we've had so far, where we had two very exciting opening episodes, two sort of their middle episodes, and then these two episodes, which, I should be mad at 5 for having no plot, but it's still a fantastic individual episode. And then 6, of course, being a great little serial killer smackdown,
Right.
Which you gotta love. So I'm enjoying the season so far. I'll scale back a little bit in my criticism of it a little bit, but I do think that point stands. But I guess that's an expectation versus sort of what's promised kind of trade-off kind of thing. Like I guess they didn't promise us that, but I still feel like precedent kind of set that
Fair.
as an expectation.
Fair.
Either way, still enjoyable so far. I'm excited to see where the final 3 episodes go. I'm kind of bored with the Fisk politicking, but I guess it's there. So, yeah, I'm excited to watch Frank Castle mow down some dirty cops.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. I will reiterate before we go that I really feel like season 5, again, it was entertaining, but I really feel like they put season 6 in there last night.
Or episode 6?
To carry us over, because they knew that people would be like, what the fuck? Like after episode 5, they were like, I think that was exactly what was on their mind. Like,
that was my experience last night. Is I watched episode 5 and I'm like, oh fuck, we're gonna like the complaints on this review are just gonna be, this is a filler episode. It's exactly what we've been complaining about. And then I woke up this morning. I'm like, oh shit, there's another episode. Because I didn't expect there to be a second one. And I'm like, I didn't watch it last night. I'm glad we didn't review last night because I'd look like a complete jackass.
Yeah, because I didn't expect either. Because like I was finished watching episode 5 and then it said watch next episode. I'm like, wait, what? So, all right, folks, that'll do us for today. Thank you so much for watching and joining us here. What did you think of Daredevil's Born Again episodes 5 and 6? Leave your comments in that section below. Give us your positives and your negatives, and let us know what you're looking forward to for the next episode. Also, guys, if you like what you watch and you like what we provide here, please be sure to subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification bell so you can receive more of our great content we have for you here on Real Time. I'm gonna have some more trailer actions coming up soon, and then me and Ryan are gonna be doing another episode of our Romeo and Juliet this weekend. I'll have that up this weekend as well. I'm excited for that. I kind of look forward to those because it's always like that first one we reviewed. Like that was, you had me watch these movies, and I'm like, oh, God damn it, Ryan. It's like that movie was something else. Anyway,
I think we're gonna watch the first good one.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah.
All right, folks. Thank you so much for watching us. Again, I'm Josh Williams.
I'm Ryan Murphy.
And I'm James Sheridan.
And thank you for keeping it real
with Real Time.
Good night.